nobody likes my spider. Except me. My mum doesn't like him. Nor does our cat. But my spider is friendly. He likes to play and share your food. He goes with you everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
But people are mean to him. They swat him and spray him and throw things at him. But he always pops up again. When you don't expect it. One day we had a big surprise. He brought a wife and 6 little children.
Oh! Get them out of here!
Shouted Mum. So I took them up to my bedroom. Because nobody likes my spiders. Except me.
There's an African story about a spider. His name was Anansi, and he had 6 children. They were all sons. They had great names: Sea Trouble, Road Builder, River Drinker, Game Skinner, Stone Thrower, and Cushion. This is the story of how those 6 sons helped their father out of trouble. Anansi. He is spider to the Asante people. In Asante land, people love this story of Kwaku Anansi. Time was, Anansi had 6 sons. First son was called Sea Trouble. He had the gift of seeing trouble a long way off. Second son was Road Builder. Thirsty son was River Drinker. Next son was Game Skinner. Another son was Stone Thrower. And last son was Cushion. He was very soft. All were good sons of Anansi. One time, Anansi went a long way from home. Far from home. He got lost. He fell into trouble. Back home was son Sea Trouble. Father is in danger, he cried. He knew it quickly, and he told those other sons. Road Builder's son said, "Follow me." She wore to keep her hair up, fell into the pot. She put in her hand to get it out again.
What is it?
Asked Mr. Haktak.
Is there a snake in the pot?
No, my dear husband. But what can this mean? I put my hand into the pot to bring out my comb, and look! 2 combs, both exactly alike.
Then Mr. Haktak remembered the purse he'd carried home in the pot. He stooped over the pot and brought out 2 purses, both exactly alike.
Open the purse.
Said Mrs. Huck-Duck. The new purse had exactly the same number of coins in it as the old one. And that meant that now the Huck-Ducks had exactly twice as much money as they had before.
Twice as much money. And 2 combs instead of 1. There is something very unusual about this pot.
What a pity we haven't a chicken to put in.
Mr. Huck-Duck said sadly.
It seems as if the pot has to have something to copy before it can make anything.
My dear husband,
said Mrs. Huck-Duck.
I have an idea. Let's put your purse in again. And again. You see, we shall soon have enough money to buy a chicken and anything else we need.
After a while, the floor was covered with leather purses, and it seemed a good idea just to throw the money in by itself. However many coins they threw in, twice as many came out. At last, Mr. Huck-Duck yawned.
Come, wife. It's late. After all, the pot won't run away. We can always make more money when we need it.
Next morning, Mrs. Huck-Duck decided to see if the pot was still working. She took a cabbage leaf and dropped it into the pot. She brought out 2 cabbage leaves.
I don't know how you came to us, my dear pot,
She said.
but you are the best friend we ever had. Oh!
Mr. Huck-Duck was surprised.
What an extraordinary thing.
I won't have another Mrs. Hack-Tack in the house.
Screamed the first Mrs. Huck-Duck.
Put her back in the pot again.
What? And pull out 2 more Mrs. Hack-Tacks? No, no, no!
So now there were 2 Mr. Huck-Ducks and 2 Mrs. Huck-Ducks. The new Mr. Huck-Duck sat down next to the new Mrs. Huck-Duck. Then the first Mrs. Huck-Duck had an idea.
Listen, my dear husband. It really is a good thing that there is a new one of you, as well as a new one of me. These 2 people can set up house next door to us, and we can go on as usual.
And that is what they did. With the money from the pot, Mr. and Mrs. Huck-Duck built themselves a fine new house. And they built one just like it next door, for the new couple. The neighbors were surprised to see such fine houses, and very surprised to see the new couple who looked so much like Mr. and Mrs. Huck-Tuck.
It looks as if the Hat-Tacks are now so rich that they've decided to have two of everything. Even two of themselves.
Two bits of wood, two conkers, two leaves.
And 2 flowers. We're having a hunt to see how many things we can find that are exactly the same. So far, we've got 2 flowers in 2 flower pots, 2 bricks, 2 pieces of wood and 2 leaves, and 2 conkers. Next time you're out for a walk, see how many things you can find that are exactly the same. Here's a trick you can all try if you want to be rich. But you'll need some money to start you off, even if it's only chocolate money. How many coins in my hand?
2.
But if I put them here, how many can you see now?
4.
So, we've already doubled our money. And all done with mirrors. Now how many coins can you see?
8.
Any more coins, Sam? Oh, thank you. Now, if we add some more coins, and some more, we shall soon have as many as the Emperor of China. Hope we can count them. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are so many gold coins that he never gets through.
Storytime.
How does the woodman cut his wood? Like this and like this. And when the woodman's cut his wood, he looks at it and says it's good. With a chop and a chip and a chop like this. How does the woodman saw his wood? Like this and like this. And when the woodman saw his wood, he looks at it and says it's good. With a zig and a zag and a zig like this. How does the woodman chop his wood? Like this and like this. And when the woodman's chopped his wood, he looks at it and says it's good. With a chop, chippy chop, like this.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
We're working out some sounds for our woodcutter's song. With a chop and a chip and a chop, like this, for the woodman's axe. With a zig and a zag and a zing, like this, for the sound of the saw. With a chop, chippy chop, like this, for chopping up the wood. The boy in our story today had to work hard chopping wood. His name was Chen Ping. This is the story of Chen Ping and the magic axe. Chen Ping was a poor boy. He lived in China. He worked for a rich man. One day his master said,
Go to the forest and chop some wood.
so Chen Ping took his axe and went to get some wood. He came to a bridge over a river. As he walked across the bridge, he tripped. His axe fell into the river. He couldn't see his axe in the river, so he began to cry. Suddenly, he saw an old man with a long white beard. The old man said,
What's the matter, Chen Ping?
My axe has fallen into the river. I won't be able to chop any wood. My master will be angry with me.
Don't cry. I'll get it for you.
said the old man. And he jumped into the river. He held up an axe.
Is this your axe?
Chen Ping looked at the axe. It was made of silver.
No, that's not my axe.
The old man held up another axe.
Is this your axe?
Chen Ping looked at the axe. It was made of gold.
No, that's not my axe.
The old man held up another axe.
Is this your axe?
Chen Ping looked at the axe. It was made of iron.
Yes,
He said,
that's my axe.
You're an honest boy, Chen Ping. This axe will work hard for you.
Then the old man disappeared. Chen Ping went into the forest. He began to chop some wood. Suddenly, the axe spoke.
Chen Ping, sit down. I'll chop the wood for you.
Chen Ping said,
This is not my axe. This is a magic axe.
The axe began to chop the wood. The axe worked hard for him. Soon there was enough wood to take home. Chen Ping picked up the wood. He took it home to his master. He told his master about the old man with a long white beard. He told him about the axe made of gold.
You are a stupid boy. You should have taken the axe made of gold.
The next morning, Chen Ping's master said to himself,
I'll go to the river. I'll find the old man. I'll get the axe made of gold.
He took an old iron axe and he went to the bridge over the river. He threw the old iron axe into the river. Then he sat down and pretended to cry. Suddenly, he saw the old man with a long white beard. The old man said,
What's the matter? My axe has fallen into the river. I won't be able to chop any wood. My master will be angry with me. Don't cry. I'll get it for you.
said the old man. And he jumped into the river. He held up an axe. It was the old iron axe.
Is this your axe? No, that's not my axe.
The old man held up another axe. It was made of silver.
Is this your axe? No, that's not my axe.
The old man held up another axe. It was made of gold.
Is this your axe? Yes,
Chen Ping's master said.
that's my axe. My axe is made of gold.
He snatched the axe. The old man disappeared. Chen Ping's master laughed.
Now I'm a very rich man. I've got a gold axe.
He ran across the bridge. As he ran, he tripped and fell into the river. Chen Ping never saw his master again, so he took his magic axe and went home. His mother and father were very pleased to see him, and they were very pleased to see the magic axe.
That's good, Justin. Do you think it could be the sound of an axe chopping? A magic axe? We're going to do our own puppet play about Chen Ping. And with puppets, you need really good sound effects. Charlene's been practicing the sound of Chen Ping walking, climbing up the steps, onto the bridge, and tripping. For the axe falling in the water, Anthony makes a really good crashing sound. Hey, I like your Chinese music. Did you make it up yourself?
Yes.
Just the right sort of music to introduce the story of Chen Ping.
Chen Ping took his axe and went to get some wood. He came to a bridge over the river. His axe fell into the river.
The next thing to do is to try out some sounds for the old man who suddenly appears. Maybe you'll have some ideas of your own. Goodbye.
Goodbye!
How does the woodman cut his wood? Like this and like this. And when the woodman's cut his wood, he looks at it and says it's good. With a sharp and a chip and a sharp like this. How does the woodman saw his wood? Like this and like this. And when the woodman saw his wood, he looks at it and says it's good. With a zig and a zag and a zig like this. How does the woodman chop his wood? Like this and like this. And when the woodman's chopped his wood, he looks at it and says it's good. With a sharp, chippy sharp, like this.
Story time.
Uncle Goliath is very tall. His steps are heavy and slow. He never has any trouble at all, seeing where he wants to go. His legs so long go stride, stride, stride. If I run till I pass, then I'm just fast enough to stay. Uncle Goliath is very tall. His steps are heavy and slow. He never has any trouble at all, seeing where he wants to go.
Hello. I don't suppose you've ever met a giant, except in a storybook. There's a giant living right next door, and sometimes, if you're very quiet, you can hear him laughing.
And sometimes he looks over the wall to see what we're doing.
Yes, he's a very friendly giant. Not a bit like the giant who ran round hitting people with his balmy knocker. And not a bit like the giant who liked to eat little boys for breakfast. Fried boys on toast. This is a giant book of giant stories. Would you like to hear a story about a giant?
Yeah?
Would you? Early one morning, Jim woke up and looked out of the window. And there, outside the window, was an enormous plant.
That's funny.
He said,
It wasn't there yesterday. I'll see how high it goes. It certainly is a big plant.
he said, as he went up into the clouds. When he reached the top of the plant, Jim saw a castle. Feeling hungry after his climb, he decided to ask at the castle for some breakfast. He waited and waited. Until the door was slowly opened by a very old giant.
A boy. A nice, juicy boy. Fried boys on a slice of toast. That's what I used to enjoy eating in the old days. But I've got no teeth now. Come in, boy. You're quite safe.
The giant shared his breakfast with Jim. Then he looked at him very closely and asked,
Is your name Jack?
No, it's Jim.
I remember years ago, a boy called Jack came up a beanstalk. But it was a long time ago, when I was just a lad. And now I'm old, and my eyesight's not so good.
Haven't you got any glasses?
Glasses?
Yes, reading glasses. They go on your nose and ears.
It's my eyes I'm talking about.
These glasses are for your eyes,
said Jim, and he explained about glasses while the giant listened carefully.
Get 'em. Get 'em for me. I'll pay for them with gold.
I'll have to measure you.
So Jim measured the giant's head. The giant gave Jim a gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk, holding the coin tight. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he got dressed and ran off to the optician. The optician could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin. But he set to work straight away. He worked all night. And in the morning, the glasses were ready. Jim carried the glasses home. Then he tied them on his back and climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his glasses. He put them on and found he could see much better.
You're a good boy. Now I can see you properly. I wonder what you'd be like to eat. But then I can't eat anything much nowadays because I've got no teeth.
Why don't you have false teeth?
False teeth? Never heard of them.
So Jim explained about false teeth while the giant listened carefully.
Get 'em. Get 'em for me. I'll pay for them with gold.
So Jim measured the giant's mouth.
Make sure they're big teeth and sharp.
The giant gave Jim another gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk, holding the coin tight. He showed the coin to his mother, but before she could say anything, he ran off to the dentist. The dentist could hardly believe his eyes when he saw the giant gold coin, but he set to work straight away. He worked all night. And in the morning, the teeth were ready. Jim carried them home. Then he tied them on his back and climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his new teeth.
Ah, I used to be a good-looking lad. Great head of flaming red hair I had. And now look at me.
Why don't you have a wig?
A wig? Never heard of a wig.
So Jim explained about wigs while the giant listened carefully.
Get one. Get one that's red and curly. I'll pay for it with gold.
So Jim measured the rest of the giant's head. The giant gave Jim another gold coin, and Jim climbed down the beanstalk, holding the coin tight. He showed the coin to his mother. But before she could say anything, he ran off to the wig maker. The wig maker could hardly believe his eyes when he saw that giant gold coin. But he set to work straight away. He worked all night. And in the morning, the wig was ready. Jim carried it home. Then he tied it on his back and climbed up the beanstalk. The giant loved his wig.
Marvelous. Wonderful. I feel like a new giant. And my appetite has come back, too. Fried boy.
Jim didn't wait to hear any more. He ran to the beanstalk, slid down it as fast as he could, grabbed an axe, and chopped down the beanstalk. Then, suddenly, something else landed. It was a huge piece of paper wrapped around a giant gold coin. On the paper, the giant had written,
Dear Jim, thank you for the teeth and the glasses, also the lovely wig. Your friend, the giant.
Jim ran inside. He showed his mother the giant gold coin.
You'll be able to keep that coin for yourself.
She said. Somewhere in the distance, Jim heard the rumble of giant laughter. We made some presents for our friendly giant.
Here's a giant comb.
Yes?
A giant toothbrush.
Yes?
And a giant hanky.
Yes. How about giving the giant his presents?
Yeah.
Okay, then, here we are. I'll steady the ladder. Off you go, Danny. Give the giant his comb. Now, Sandy with the toothbrush. Oh, she's going to be so surprised. Natalie and Chumap, come on. With the duster to polish his glasses. That's it. Careful. That's right, I've got the ladder. Off you go.
he enjoys his presents. Bye.
Uncle Goliath is very tall. His legs are heavy and strong.
Storytime.
A green pepper. Cut in half. There's half a green pepper for you, Ben, and half a green pepper for you, Selina. You ready to put your sails on now? You have to push quite hard, don't you? 1, 2, 3, push. Lovely. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Do you like our sailing boats? They're vegetable sailing boats. Can you see? There's half a green pepper for the hull, and the sail is a piece of paper on a stick. If we turn the sail round, there's a picture of another vegetable, an onion. And on this sail over here is a picture of a carrot. Aha! Here come the sailors. And what's your name?
Onion.
And what's your name?
Carrot.
Well, will Carol, Carrot and Ollie Onion like to stand by their boats? Okay. Would you like to come sailing too? Well, melon skin boats. They float very well, don't they? Have your sailors got names?
Lucy Leak and Spud.
Shall we see if our boats float as well as theirs?
Yes.
Let's have a look. We'll put one in. And the other one. Well, the peppers won't be wasted if they don't float, because we can slice them up and have them for our dinner. Have you ever helped cook the dinner? Some children I know, they do a lot of cooking at school. Last week, they helped their teacher make soup, vegetable soup.
2 peppers, 1 green and 1 red.
The red is bigger than green.
It is a little bit bigger, isn't it? Shall we have one of each of those? Cut it open. So what are these inside the pepper? Seeds. Yes, I don't think we want the seeds in our soup, do we? So I'm going to take that part away. I'm going to take that away. And all the... And Claire, perhaps you'd like to cut the leek for us into very thin slices. Very good. Would you like any help to get it cut up? Binder's trying hard. Slice it up now quite quickly. What is the onion like inside? It's in rings, isn't it? There. Now I'm going to add it to the dish. Put them in. There. Now we can cook our vegetable soup. The last thing we're going to need for our vegetable soup is some stock. And I'm going to make the stock by using a stock cube, putting it in the jug. I'm going to dissolve this in boiling water. Just boil the kettle, you can see the steam's coming out. And now to help it dissolve, I'm going to stir it very gently. And our stock's just ready now to add to our soup. So I'm going to turn on the oven. And I'm going to melt some butter in the saucepan. Now we're going to add the vegetables, 2 at a time. And let them just sweat a little in the butter. Ready now to add the stock. If you listen, you'll hear it hiss. You hear the hiss? And the water hits the vegetables in the hot pan. Now it's stopped hissing, because I'm stirring in the stock. Put the lid on our soup pot. Turn the heat down, so the soup doesn't cook too fast. And let it simmer for a while.
In this storybook, there's a picture of Mother Hen making soup from vegetables. She had to make it for the bad, bad wolf. But she didn't call it vegetable soup. She called it stone soup. Would you like to hear why? One day, out walking, a bad, bad wolf came across Mother Hen, pegging out her washing. He looked at the things hanging on the line, and he had to admit that they looked of the finest quality. Thought the wolf.
There are goodies to be had here.
So he stopped for a chat.
Good day,
said the wolf.
I think I shall eat you, and then steal all your goodies.
Thank you very much, squawked Mother Hen. But before that, perhaps you'd like some soup.
That's very kind of you.
Smiled the bad, bad wolf.
I'd like some soup. Then I'll eat you.
Oh. Mother Hen picked up a stone from the path. I'll make stone soup, she said. It's very special.
It must be,
said the wolf.
I've eaten soup in all the best places, and I've never heard of it.
Mother Hen boiled some water and dropped the stone into the pan. As the wolf didn't believe that soup could be made from a stone, he sipped a little from a spoon. He spat.
It just tastes of hot water.
Of course it does, snapped Mother Hen. It just needs salt and pepper to bring out the flavour of the stone. While I'm doing that, why don't you just wash a few dishes?
Right,
laughed the bad, bad wolf. When the wolf had finished the dishes, he tasted the soup again.
Ugh,
He howled.
it's worse. It's like hot, salty water now.
Maybe a couple of carrots will help, said Mother Hen. While you're waiting, perhaps you could clean and dust the house.
Right.
Grinned the bad, bad wolf. The wolf tasted the stone soup again.
It's not much better,
he said. Potatoes, cried Mother Hen. Bless us, I did forget the potatoes. And she went to dig some up. While you're waiting, she called to the wolf, you could bring in the washing before it rains.
Right,
said the bad, bad wolf. Mother Hen let the wolf taste the soup again.
It's better,
he said. But not quite right, fussed Mother Hen. While I get some turnips, could you just cut that into a few logs? She pointed to a huge tree and gave him a tiny axe. And when you've finished, the stone soup should be just about ready.
Right,
muttered the bad, bad wolf.
Oh.
When the tree was cut into logs, the wolf tasted the soup yet again.
It's fine.
He said.
Let's eat it now.
Mother Hen took a sip. Oh, not yet, she said. A sprout or two will really improve the flavour of the stone. While you're waiting, be a sweetie and fix the TV aerial on the roof.
Right.
Groaned the bad, bad wolf.
The soup smells delicious.
Panted the wolf when he came down off the roof. Ah, sniffed Mother Hen. There's, something missing. Mushrooms. That's what it is. Mushrooms. The wolf stared. While you're waiting for the mushrooms to cook, smiled Mother Hen, you just have time to sweep the chimney.
Right.
Snarled the bad, bad wolf. By the time the wolf had finished the chimney, Mother Hen had thrown some beans, a little cabbage, a few lentils, and a marrow into the pan. Proudly, she gave the wolf a taste. He was delighted.
Who'd have thought
He sighed.
that a simple stone would make such a glorious soup?
I'm glad you liked it, said Mother Hen, when the wolf had finished the soup. You can eat me now.
I can't.
Gasped the wolf.
Oh, I'm too full.
Oh, fancy that, said Mother Hen. You'd better steal my goodies then and be off with you. The bad, bad wolf leapt to his feet, snatched the stone, and took to his heels. I don't think the bad, bad wolf knew he'd been tricked. Perhaps he found out when he tried to make stone soup at home. The children at St. John's School didn't put a stone in their soup, but it did taste delicious.
There we are. Lovely. Wanted to taste with the big spoon, didn't you? You try with the big spoon. That's it.
No, yum.
And what about Navinda?
With a tiny Claire. I'm lost.
Try you? You try a bit. Right. Is it a bit hot? Claire?
It did look good. They made sure it simmered long enough with this timer. We borrowed it to time our boat race. But I think we better say goodbye now.
Bye.
There won't be enough breath left after the race is over to say our goodbyes then. So goodbye. Ready, steady, go! Go on, harder. Quick. Oh, no, fingers, Selina, that's cheating. Go on, blow, just blow. Of course it can. Go on, I'll blow with you. Well, and who do you think's the winner? Oh, we're nearly there. Go on, a bit more, we're not quite at the end.
time.
Five little monkeys walked along the shore. One went sailing, and then there were four. Four little monkeys climbed up a tree. One tumbled down, and then there were three. Three little monkeys found a pot of glue. One got stuck, and then there were two. Two little monkeys found a currant bun. One ran away, and then there was one. One little monkey cried all afternoon, so they put him and sent him to the moon.
Five little monkeys walked along the shore. One went sailing. Then there were four. Hello. You can help me say that, right? Four little monkeys climbed up a tree. One, tumbled down. And then there were three. Three little monkeys found a pot of glue. One, got stuck. And then there were two. Two little monkeys found a currant bun. One ran away. And then there was one. One little monkey cried all afternoon. So they put him in an aeroplane and sent him to the moon. I can see the moon in the pond. Look, can you see it? The moon reflected in the water. The moon's not in the pond, though, is it? You can see the moon's reflection. There's a story about some monkeys who saw the moon reflected in the water. They lived in a beautiful garden in India. In the garden, there was a well with water in it. Now, when the monkeys saw the moon reflected in the water, they thought that the moon had fallen into the well. Once upon a time in India, there was a beautiful garden. In the garden lived a troop of monkeys. All day they were busy moving about in the trees. Sometimes they looked for juicy fruit. Sometimes they looked for crunchy nuts. Most of the time, they played games, like King of the Castle and hide and seek. At night, they slept. But one night, when the moon was shining so brightly, the monkeys couldn't sleep. They began to play in the bright moonlight. They made up a new game. It was called Chase My Tail. Suddenly, one of the monkeys stopped and looked down. He saw the moon shining in the smooth water of the well below.
Look!
He called to the others.
The moon has fallen into the well.
Now the world has no moon.
Why don't we try to pull it out? Oh, yes! Yes! Let's save the moon. Yes!
The monkeys all tried to think of a way to save the moon. Soon they had a good plan. The first monkey held onto the branch of a tree just above the well. The second monkey held the first monkey's tail. The third monkey held the tail of the second monkey. Then the fourth. Then the fifth, until they were all hanging on to one another. Then the fifth monkey dipped his paw into the water to pick up the moon. He searched in the water with his paw again and again. But he could not find the moon. Suddenly, the branch they were hanging from broke. They all fell into the well. What a screeching, splashing, and spluttering there was. When they were all out again, they looked over the edge of the well into the water.
There it is again!
The youngest monkey shook the water out of his fur and said,
Oh, stupid moon!
The others said,
Silly, 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 silly moon!
Then the chief monkey, looking wise, said,
Oh, well, come on. Let's go back to our game. If the silly moon found its own way into the well, let it find its own way out.
Yes, yes!
After all, it's none of our business.
Poor monkeys. They were a bit silly, weren't they? Oh, but they meant well. Would you like to be a monkey? It might be fun to live in the trees. You could spend all day climbing and jumping and playing hide and seek. Mind you, a monkey's life isn't all fun and games. 5 little monkeys playing in a tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile.
Can't catch me.
4 little monkeys playing in a tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile.
Can't catch me.
3 little monkeys playing in a tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile.
Can't catch me.
2 little monkeys playing in a tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile.
Can't catch me.
1 little monkey playing in a tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile.
Can't catch me.
'No little monkeys playing in a tree.' I'd better watch out, or he might get me. Wouldn't want to make friends with a crocodile. Except, maybe, a baby crocodile, like Cornelius. Cornelius knew he had a lot to learn, so he found himself a good teacher who was happy to teach him some monkey tricks. When the eggs hatched, the little crocodiles crawled out onto the river beach. But Cornelius walked out upright. As he grew taller and stronger, he hardly ever came down on all fours. He saw things no other crocodiles had ever seen before. "I can see far beyond the bushes," he said. But the others said, "What's so good about that?" "I can see the fish from above," Cornelius said. "So what?" said the others. And so one day, Cornelius decided to walk away. It was not long before he met a monkey. "I can walk upright," Cornelius said proudly. "And I can see things far away." "I can stand on my head," said the monkey. "And hang from my tail." Cornelius was amazed. "Could I learn to do that?" he asked. "Of course," replied the monkey. "All you need is a lot of hard work and a little help." Cornelius worked hard at learning the monkey's tricks, and the monkey seemed happy to help him. When he had learned to hang from his tail, Cornelius walked proudly back to the river beach. "Look," he said, "I can stand on my head." "So what?" was all the others said. "And I can hang from my tail," said Cornelius. But the others just frowned and said, "So what?" Disappointed, Cornelius decided to go back to the monkey. But just as he looked back, what did he see? There the others were, falling all over themselves, trying to stand on their heads and hang from their tails. Life on the river beach would never be the same again. Cornelius smiled. "Do you know, I think our Mr. Crocodile wants to learn how to stand on his head and hang from his tail. Do you think your monkeys might teach him a trick or two?"
Can't catch me, can't catch me.
Goodbye.
Bye. Five little monkeys walked along the shore. One went sailing, and then there were four. Four little monkeys climbed up a tree. One tumbled down, and then there were three. Three little monkeys found a pot of glue. One got stuck, and then there were two. Two little monkeys found a currant bun. One ran away, and then there was one. One.
Storytime.
Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did she go? The farmer's wife has just been out to scatter bits of bread about. One little sparrow was out today. He ate some bread, then hopped away. Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did he go? A pigeon ate some breadcrumbs too. He walked around, then off he flew. Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did he go? A cat crept up behind the hedge, then sprang onto the window ledge. Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did he go? A rabbit hurried on his way. It's much too cold outside today. Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did he go? A duck went off to have a swim. The pond was not too cold for him.
Right, Claire, it's your turn now. Put your foot in. That's right. And put it onto the paper. Let's have a look. Right, that's great. Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to tell them what we've been doing?
Making footprints.
Right. Now, there isn't any snow, so we've been using watercolours to make a print of our foot. Ah. Now, it's easy to tell which one is mine, isn't it? Because it's the biggest. Now, this one is the smallest. Now, which one of these three do you think made the smallest print? Who did? Who made the smallest print?
Me.
Right, Adam did. Now, once upon a time, there was a king who forgot that not all feet are the same size. This caused a terrible muddle at the palace. Once upon a time, there lived a king and his wife, the queen. They were a happy couple, for they had everything in the world. However, when the queen's birthday came near, the king had a problem. What could he give to someone who had everything? The king thought, and he thought, and he thought, until suddenly he had an idea. He would give the queen a bed. The queen did not have a bed because at that time beds had not been invented. The king called the Prime Minister and asked him to please have a bed made. The Prime Minister called the Chief Carpenter and asked him to please have a bed made. The Chief Carpenter called the apprentice and told him to make a bed. "How big is a bed?" asked the apprentice, who didn't know because at that time nobody had seen a bed.
How big is a bed?
The carpenter asked the Prime Minister.
Oh, good question.
Said the Prime Minister, and he asked the king.
How big is a bed?
The king thought, and he thought, and he thought, until suddenly he had an idea. The bed must be big enough to fit the queen. The king called the queen. He told her to put on her new pyjamas and to lie down on the floor. The king took off his shoes so that he could walk carefully around the queen with his big feet. He counted that the bed must be 3 feet wide and 6 feet long to be big enough to fit the queen, including the crown, which the queens sometimes like to wear in bed. The king said,
"Thank you,"
to the queen, and told the prime minister, who told the chief carpenter, who told the apprentice.
The bed must be 3 feet wide and 6 feet long to be big enough to fit the queen,
including the crown, which the queen sometimes liked to wear in bed. The apprentice said, "Thank you," and took off his shoes. And with his little feet he measured 3 feet wide and 6 feet long, and made a bed to fit the queen. When the king saw the bed, he thought it was beautiful. He couldn't wait for the queen's birthday. Instead, he called the queen at once and told her to put on her new pyjamas. Then he brought out the bed and told the queen to try it out. But the bed was much too small for the queen. The king was so angry that he immediately called the prime minister, who called the chief carpenter, who called the jailer, who threw the apprentice into jail. The apprentice was so unhappy.
Oh!
Why was the bed too small for the queen? He thought, and he thought, and he thought, until suddenly he had an idea. A bed that was 3 king's feet wide and 6 king's feet long was naturally bigger than a bed that was 3 apprentice feet wide and 6 apprentice feet long. I can make a bed to fit the queen if I know the size of the king's foot, he cried. He explained this to the jailer, who explained it to the chief carpenter, who explained it to the prime minister, who explained it to the king, who was much too busy to go to the jail. Instead, the king took off one of his shoes and called a famous sculptor. The sculptor made an exact marble copy of the king's foot. This was sent to the jail. The apprentice took the marble copy of the king's foot, and with it he measured 3 feet wide and 6 feet long, and built a bed to fit the queen. The bed was ready just in time for the queen's birthday. The king called the queen and told her to put on her new pyjamas. Then he brought out the bed and told the Queen to try it. The Queen got into bed, and the bed fitted the Queen perfectly, including the crown, which she sometimes liked to wear in bed. It was, without doubt, the nicest gift the Queen had ever received. The King was very happy. He immediately called the apprentice from jail and made him a royal prince. And forever after, anyone who wanted to measure anything used a copy of the King's foot. And when someone said,
"My bed is 6 feet long and 3 feet wide,"
everyone knew exactly how big it was. Useful things, feet. Can you think of some of the things your feet might do in a day?
Feet jump, feet hop, feet walk, feet stop, feet meet, more feet, all go running down the street.
It looks as if those feet have left some footprints behind. Let's see what they tell us. Feet walk, feet stop, feet jump, and feet hop. Here's someone else who's off on a hard day's hop.
Hippity hop goes the one-legged mop to the corner shop for a bottle of pop. Hippity hop goes the one-legged mop to the butcher's shop for a mutton chop. Hippity hop goes the one-legged mop to the barber's shop for a bit off the top. Flippity flop, says the one-legged mop. Now I'm fit to drop. I've just got to stop.
I've got to stop too, to say goodbye. But there'll be someone following in my footsteps. Goodbye.
Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did he go? A cat crept up behind the hedge, then sprang onto the window ledge. Who made the footprints in the snow? Who came along and where did he go? A duck went off to have a swim. The pond was not too cold for him.
Storytime.
Thumbs in the thumb plates, fingers all together. This is the song we sing in mitten weather. When it doesn't matter whether mittens are wool or made of finest leather. This is the song we sing in mitten weather. Thumbs in the thumb plates, fingers all together.
Oh, looks as if someone's lost a mitten. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Shall we find out who it belongs to?
Yes.
Oh, it's not a mitten at all, is it?
No.
What is it?
A book.
That's right, it's a book in the shape of a mitten. And inside, there's a song.
The mitten song. Thumbs in the thumb place, fingers all together. This is the song we sing in mitten weather. When it is cold, it doesn't matter whether mittens are wool or made of finest leather. This is the song we sing in mitten weather. Thumbs in the thumb place, fingers all together.
Well, that was lovely. Now, this book seems to be full of good things. There's a story in here, too. The Lost Mitten. An old man was walking through the forest with his dog running behind him. He dropped one of his mittens. Up ran a little mouse. It crept into the mitten and said,
"This is where I'm going to live."
Just then, a frog hopped up and asked,
Who's living in this mitten, then?
Crunch, Munch the mouse. Who are you?
I'm Opstop the frog. Can I come in?
Yes, come in, come in.
So then there were two of them sitting in the mitten. Up ran a rabbit. It went up to the mitten and asked,
Who's living in this mitten, then?
Crunch, Munch the mouse.
Opstop the frog.
Who are you?
I'm Fleet Feet the rabbit. Can I come in?
So then there were three of them sitting in the mitten. Up ran a fox and asked,
Who's living in this mitten, then?
Crunch, Munch the mouse.
Opstop the frog.
Fleet Feet, the rabbit.
Who are you?
I'm Smiley Wiley, the fox. Can I come in too?
Yes,
Come
come
in.
in,
Come
come
in.
in.
So then there were four of them sitting in the mitten. Then up ran a wolf. The wolf went up to the mitten and asked,
Who's living in this mitten, then?
Crunch, Munch the mouse.
Opstop the frog.
Fleet Feet, the rabbit.
Smiley Wiley, the fox.
Who are you?
I'm Howly Prowly, the wolf. Can I come in too?
Yes,
Come in.
come in,
Come in.
come in.
and the wolf scurried in too. So then there were five of them sitting in the mitten. Then, from somewhere or other, a boar wandered up. It snorted,
Who's living in this mitten?
Crunch, Munch the mouse.
Opstop the frog.
Fleet Feet, the rabbit.
Smiley Wiley, the fox. Howly Prowly, the wolf. Who are you? I'm Snout Rout, the boar. Can I come in too?
Yes.
Come in.
Come in.
The boar clambered in too. So then there were 6 of them sitting in the mitten. Just then, a bear appeared. It went up to the mitten and roared,
Who's living in this mitten, then?
Crunch Munch the mouse.
Up stop the frog.
Fleet Feet the rabbit.
Smiley Wiley the fox. Howly Prowly the wolf.
Snout Rout, the boar.
Who are you?
I'm Grumbly Rumbly, the bear. Can I come in?
Yes. Come in.
Come
in. But stay by the entrance.
By this time, they were squashed so tight together that the mitten was on the point of bursting.
Oh.
Now, there were 7 of them sitting in the mitten. At that moment, the old man noticed his mitten was missing. He decided to go back to look for it. His dog ran ahead of him. Suddenly, the dog saw the mitten on the ground, lying there, moving. Barked the dog. The animals were so terrified that they rushed out of the mitten. And the old man just picked up his mitten and went on his way.
Do you think the animals found another home?
Well, I hope so. Must have been a bit of a squeeze, living in a mitten. Here's somebody else who's looking for a new place to live.
I'm looking for a house, said the little brown mouse, with 1 room for breakfast, 1 room for tea, 1 room for supper, and that makes 3. 1 room to dance in when I give a ball, a kitchen and a bedroom, 6 rooms in all.
We've made some mice, some finger mice. You going to tell them what we've made them from?
We made them from some old gloves. We cut off the fingers.
That's right. Now Mouse is looking all around. Mouse is listening for a sound.
Mouse is sleeping in her bed. Mouse is sitting on my head. Mouse is looking at my toes. Mouse can kiss me on the nose.
Mouse can whisper in my ear. What's she saying? Can you hear?
I think she likes the poem.
Well, that's nice. Have you got a poem you like to say? I know a little boy who does. This is his favourite.
This is the hand that touched the frost, that froze my tongue and made it numb. This is the hand that cracked the nut that went in my mouth and never came out. This is the hand that slid round the bath to find the soap that would not float. This is the hand on the water bottle meant to warm my bed that got lost instead. This is the hand that held the bottle that let go of the soap, that cracked the nut, that touched the frost. This is the hand that never gets lost.
That was a great poem for a wintry day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah. What's your puppet called? Your mouse?
thumbs in the thumb place, fingers all together. This is the song we sing in written weather. When it is cold, it doesn't matter whether mittens are wool or made of finest leather. This is the song we sing in written weather. Thumbs in the thumb place, fingers all together.
A Tiny Doll in Storytime, presented by Vicky Ireland.
Storytime.
This is an apron, right? Who does this belong to?
Nancy the nurse.
Yes, there you are, Nancy the nurse. Hello, we're playing a dressing up game.
Hello.
Now, baggy trousers. Who wears baggy trousers?
Connie the clown.
Connie the clown. There you are, Connie. That's it. Now, what about this jacket? Who does this jacket belong to?
Penny the policewoman.
There you are, Penny the policewoman. Whoops. That's it. And what about this little hat? Whose is this little hat?
Charlie the cook.
Charlie the cook. There you are. You know, you can often tell what jobs people do just by looking at what they wear.
Harry was a fireman, and this is what he did. He pulled on his boots and leggings. What did he do then? He buttoned up his jacket. What did he do then? He put on his belt and helmet. What did he do then? He jumped upon the engine. Clang, 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 clang. That's what he did then. Tommy was a diver, and this is what he did. He put his rubber suit on. What did he do then? He pulled on his long black flippers. What did he do then? He put on his mask and snorkel. What did he do then? He jumped into the water. Glug, 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 glug. That's what he did then. Davy was a pirate, and this is what he did. He put his wooden leg on. What did he do then? He put his pirate's hat on. What did he do then? He picked up a sword and pistol. What did he do then? He fired his big black cannon. Boom, 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 boom. That's what he did then.
And here's another song about Miss Polly and the doctor. Watch out for what they do. What are their actions? You can join in if you like.
Miss Polly had a dolly who was sick, sick, sick. So she phoned for the doctor to be quick, quick, quick. The doctor came with his bag and his hat, and he rapped at the door with a rat, tap, tap. He looked at the dolly and he shook his head, and he said, Miss Polly, put her straight to bed. He wrote on the paper for a pill, pill, pill. I'll be back in the morning with my bill, bill, bill.
Poor Dolly. Let's hope she gets well soon, because we don't want Miss Polly to worry about her, do we? Well, while she goes to the chemist to get the pills, I'm going to tell you a story about a tiny doll
who lived in a very cold house. There was once a tiny doll who belonged to a girl who did not care for dolls. One day, the girl was following her mother round a grocer's shop when she put her hand in her pocket and felt something hard. It was the tiny doll.
Ugly old thing,
she said, and put it back, as she thought, into her pocket. But in fact, it fell, unnoticed, into the deep freeze. It was very cold in the deep freeze, and the tiny doll began to feel rather stiff. So she decided to walk about and have a good look at the place. The floor was crisp and white, just like frost on a winter's morning. There were many packets, piled one on top of the other. They seemed to her like great big buildings. The cracks between the piles were rather like narrow streets. She walked one way and then the other, passing not only packets of peas, but packets of sliced beans, spinach, broccoli, and mixed vegetables. Then she turned a corner and found herself among the beef burgers and fish fingers. Now she made herself as comfortable as possible, but it was not easy. One day, when she was busy eating ice cream out of a packet, she suddenly looked up and saw a little girl she'd never seen before. The little girl was sorry for the tiny doll and longed to take her home to be with her other dolls. The doll looked so cold and lonely. But the girl did not dare to pick her up because she'd been told not to touch things in the shop. However, she felt she must do something to help the doll, and as soon as she got home, she set to work to make her some warm clothes. She made a tiny red bonnet. While her mother cut out some material, blue velvet, for the little girl to make a tiny coat.
Right, are you ready? We've got to go to the shops.
Just a minute.
The little girl put the coat and the bonnet in an empty matchbox and made it into a neat parcel with brown paper tied with string. As soon as she reached the shop, she ran straight to the deep freeze to look for her. At first she couldn't see her anywhere. Then suddenly she saw her, right at the back, playing with the peas. The tiny doll was throwing them into the air and hitting them with an ice cream spoon. The little girl dropped in the parcel, and the doll at once started to untie it. She looked very pleased when she saw what was inside. She tried on the coat, and it fitted. She tried on the bonnet, and it fitted too. She was very pleased. She jumped up and down with excitement and waved to the little girl to say thank you. At last, she settled down in the matchbox, wrapped herself in the brown paper blanket, and went to sleep. The little girl came back to the shop every day, and each time she bought something new for the tiny doll. A yellow scarf, and a sweater, knickers with tiny frills, and some red tights. At last, the tiny doll was beautifully dressed and looked quite cheerful, but still nobody except the little girl ever noticed her.
Couldn't we ask someone about the doll? I'd love to take her home to play with.
Do you know anything about the doll in the deep freeze?
No, indeed, there are no dolls in this shop.
Oh, yes, there are,
said the little girl and her mother. And there, sure enough, was the tiny doll, down among the frozen peas.
It's not much of a life for a doll in there. You'd better take her home, where she will be out of mischief.
Thank you.
The little girl took the tiny doll home, where she lived for many happy years in a beautiful doll's house.
Time to go to bed now.
The little girl loved her and played with her a great deal.
Good night.
But best of all, the tiny doll liked the company of the other dolls, because they all loved to listen to her stories about the time when she lived in the deep freeze. If I had a choice, I'd rather live in a doll's house than a deep freeze. We've made some puppets. And we've made a little house. It is. How many people live in it? What do you think?